So this is a lecture on the wonderful world of motion graphics. So my name is Kayla Hardy and I am a motion graphics artist, and I am currently a student at Grand Valley for 16 more days until I graduate, and I work for them at the University of Communications doing all the motion graphics for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and occasionally Snapchat. So it's very fun and I love it. I'm going to be so sad to be leaving it soon. So now we're going to talk about what motion graphics is. Motion graphics is a new term for a specific genre of animation that has been around for a while, and it's basically taking graphic design and animation and smushing it together. So you have graphic design, which is made up of non-moving parts, text, images, shapes, things like that. And then you have animation, which is timing, movement. And when you put those two things together, that is what motion graphics is. So there are a few terms that are very popular in motion graphics. And the first of these terms is typography. So typography is just a font. So everything that's on the screen here is a font. And that font, for this particularly, is sans serif. And we know that because we can see that it is a very straight edge with no curves on the end. Serif fonts have that little curve on the end, as you can see there. And that's what differs the two. So even if it's a very cursive-y font, that's going to be serif versus sans serif. And then another important term is keyframe. So a keyframe is basically a point at the beginning and the end of a little animation, of a transition even. And so if you had something that was starting here and ending over here, and you had a keyframe here and here, it would move just like that. And that handle is showing the way you manipulate it. If something starts slow at the beginning and goes fast in the middle, or vice versa. There's all different kinds, and we're going to get to that in a minute. So what skills do you need to have to be a motion graphics artist? You need to have an understanding of design. Going back to that graphic design plus animation thing, you need to have an understanding of design. So you need to understand foreground, middle ground, background. You need to have an understanding of color, contrast, all these different terms, scale. You need to have that understanding of design and what good design looks like. You need to have a passion to create and have fun. Animation is a fun thing. I mean, have you seen animated movies? They're fun. They're meant to be fun. So you need to have that passion and want to have fun creating this stuff. You don't want to make it boring and spend all this time just so it's boring. And then you need to have a basic knowledge of animation. And what I mean by that is, again, knowing about those keyframes, but you need to know a little bit about the 12 principles of animation, which are things that Disney uses. So for more of drawn or 3D animation, it's used, but you are going to use it in motion graphics as well. Now we're going to talk about the kind of programs that are out there for motion graphics. So the main program is After Effects, which is a part of the Adobe Suite. And this program here is going to be used a lot for layering objects. You can have a lot of layers in After Effects to achieve something really complex. It's an industry standard, so it is the most complex program that I'm going to be showing you here. The next one is also a part of the Adobe Suite. It's Premiere, and yeah, it's not as complex as After Effects, but you can achieve very simple motion graphics in this program. This program is mainly used for video editing and sequencing. So video editing, like I said. And then finally we have PowerPoint, which is kind of surprising, but there are a lot of tutorials out there, and actually the first motion graphics that I ever did was through PowerPoint. So it's pretty cool. So this video here that I'm going to show you is an example of someone's portfolio that they did in After Effects. And you're going to see that it's complex and it's a little bit different than what we're going to see later on. So let's take a look at this. So for a lot of people that are creative in the field, they will put their portfolio together like this, which is a very inventive and new media kind of thing to do. So there's that. This next one here is a little example of using Premiere Pro to do very, very basic motion graphics. He's going to animate a square and show you, again, those keyframes and how you can manipulate them to create a transition that's smooth and changes the speed of this animation. We're not going to take a look at this whole thing because there are two parts of it, but we're going to take a look at the first half. So that was just showing you a little bit of what you can do in that program. And then finally here we have PowerPoint. And this particular video is a video of someone who does tutorials for PowerPoint for a YouTube channel. And I have to say, it is pretty impressive. The first motion graphics that I did in PowerPoint didn't look like this. These ones are very kind of complex. So if you're looking for a good starting point, PowerPoint might be the way to go. So there's that. Now this here is a little demo I put together, which is gonna kind of explain keyframes a little bit more visually. So what we're gonna have here, I'm gonna play this and talk over it. So what we have here, I'm moving forward in time, setting a keyframe for the position that the hello is in, moving back to 0, moving it off screen horizontally for a horizontal translation, and when I hit play, you can see that it moved onto the screen. So that is showing you what happens when you place keyframes and the very, very minimal level of motion graphics that is right there. And then this right here is going to talk more about those keyframes and the kind of handle you can have on them to make them, you know, move very sharp, very slow, very smooth, very bouncy. Let's watch it again. But there's endless combinations, and the cool thing is you can play around with it and see which one works best for your project at that time. So then this here is going to be a project that I've been working on, and as you can see, compared to the demo that I had made, this is a lot more complex. We're not only dealing with position here, we're dealing with opacity, which is something fading in or fading out. we're dealing with scale, shrinking, and growing, and we're dealing with rotation, spinning, things like that. And there are, again, with layering, you can see now here I have all these layers, and they're all going on top of each other, and they're all acting with each other. So we're going to see how these keyframes work with this video. So that's just a little clip there of showing you how complex it can get. So where can you find motion graphics? You can find motion graphics everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. And you're going to find that out in a minute. So this is a commercial for PayPal. So this is just showing that not only do little companies use their logos, but bigger companies are using motion graphics too. So we're going to take a look at this.
Welcome to PayPal, the faster, simpler, more secure way to shop online and on mobile. Signing up is easy and it's free. Step 1. Sign up at paypal.com with your email address and create a password. Step 2. Add your debit card or credit card or both. We'll securely store your details ready for when you shop across the globe. You don't need a balance in your PayPal account, as we will automatically deduct any.
So I'm going to move forward because I don't want to spend the whole time just watching that. So with that PayPal account, or that PayPal video, they had a lot of shapes, but also topography. So they're using a voiceover, topography, and shapes to get everything across. The stuff on the screen is going to make it the simplest and quickest as it can be, and then the voiceover is going to give that extra information. So it's interesting for the viewer to see what's going on, but then they have that background and the words on the screen to kind of help them in case they don't understand. Now, Google also uses a lot of motion graphics within their products, and we're going to see in this one that this one's a little bit different than PayPal, and we'll talk about it after we watch a few seconds of it.
Data. It's being created all the time, from devices, applications, and their users. Because it's digital, it's measurable. But what about information offline, in the physical world? There's actionable offline data just waiting to be discovered. And with devices that can capture, convert, and send the newly discovered data, businesses in any industry can start measuring their operations in real time to anticipate events proactively and to spot issues before they become problems.
Okay, so that Google motion graphics used a voiceover, but no text. So you're getting all that information based on the visuals and based on what you're hearing. You're not getting that extra layer that PayPal had. So now what I'm talking about when you see motion graphics everywhere, pull out your phone right now and click on an app. When that opens up, that's motion graphics. When it closes back out, that's motion graphics. It's on Androids, it's on Samsungs, it's on Macs, it's on iPads, it's on iPhones, it's everywhere. Anything that you're doing on your phone practically is motion graphics, and it's very simplistic form. So it's pretty cool. I bet you didn't know that before, and if you did, awesome. And then of course we have our streaming services. Hulu has the same thing. They have all those colors that show up, but companies like this will use their logos a lot to advertise. So that's going to bring us in, I think, to the next part, which is uses for motion graphics, which we're going to start off with logos. And what we're going to start off with here is FedEx. And FedEx is really playing on that arrow that is in their logo to sell their logo, which is very inventive. And then we have Spotify, very, very simple, but very effective as well. And then we have the Grand Valley logo, which I actually did, so I had to include that. Then we're going to move on to titles and overlays. So with technology, we have the ability to create these title sequences before TV shows. I'm sure you've seen them. They might not be just like this. They might just be in the corner popping up. And then for interviews, we have these for the lower thirds, coming in and out, maybe fading in and out. But that is motion graphics. And in the past, before we had all this technology and the ability to create motion graphics, credits would be handwritten or done in stop motion under a copy stand. So you can see how this is a lot faster and a lot more effective than doing that. Then we're going to have motion graphics for informational. So then we're taking a mundane, boring topic like loans, which we did for the school, and we're taking all of those complex, boring, one in one ear, out the other ear topics, and we're putting graphics with it to make it appealing, to make it interesting. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to retain this information better than if you had to read a long piece of paper that you're going to probably forget about in 5 minutes. So that is one of the things that we do a lot at Grand Valley, and a lot of other colleges do as well. They use a lot of motion graphics to sell this stuff, and this isn't over a minute long. It's quick, and it gives you all the information you need. And if you need more information, there is links to go if you're not someone who needs to see something visually. We have digital invites, which is becoming very, very popular. So with digital invites, you have no limitations. You're not tied down to a piece of paper where you can only fit so much, and you have to decide what do you want on it, what do you want it to look like. With this, you can have as many slides as you want, all the different fonts that you want, all the different graphics, everything. You can have photos. It's very customizable. It's very you and your recipients that are going to receive this. So it's very effective, and it's saving paper, it's saving money for stamps, and you can send all this very bulk. You can create an event online. It's really the way to go now, I think. And this is a very complex for example. This is a little less complex. This is for a school event, and they are using a lot more typography and shapes rather than graphics of people, pictures, things like that. This is just very quick, to the point. Here's the date, here's what's going on, here's the school logo, all this stuff. Very to the point, and it ends just how it starts, so it can kind of loop if they wanted it to be like that. And then finally, for this lecture, we're going to discuss transitions. That's the final one for this. So transitions are a big part of motion graphics. Throughout this whole presentation, I've been using transitions that are motion graphic related. And it's just a fun way to get from one place to another place, especially in animation. And this here is, it said it was a transition pack. A lot of motion graphics are already pre-made in a template that people can purchase and then use in their project. So what I'm doing is the back end and creating this kind of stuff. So these are all just kind of different transitions you can see, and then once you start learning these transitions, you can kind of create your own and get a feel for it. So we're going to move on. For any other information that you might want to know about motion graphics, because there's a lot more, you can visit my website, which is listed there, and I have my motion graphics reel on there, which I didn't include in this because it's a little long, but feel free to check that out, or feel free to contact me on there. My email's on there. If you're looking just to research other motion graphics, there are some websites I've listed here. CreativeCow.net has motion graphic tutorials and all different other kind of tutorials, as well as Video Copilot. He not only has motion graphics tutorials, but also After Effects tutorials. So if you're feeling like you're ready to take that step and get immersed in After Effects, Video Copilot is the way to go. And then for YouTube, as far as that goes, these three here, Sonduck, Dope Motions, and School of Motion, are some of the three that I used when I was learning motion graphics, and I still use to this day. So I would suggest checking them out if that's something you're interested in. So that's going to conclude this little presentation here. These are all my citations. So if there was something on there that maybe you wanted to go check out, here they all are. So if you're interested in checking those out, feel free. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed.